Survivor specialists Alexa and McKenna are back. We are recapping the 10th and 11th episodes of Australian Survivor. I think by the end of the 11th episode, we are 26 days into it, which is more than halfway through American Survivor, and they are not even at the halfway point of Australian Survivor. What is your thought on that?
It's just the fact that they got the loved one stuff now, and it's like not a loved one visit. It's just like trinkets and like luxury items, I guess. But it's because they're out there for so long that they're like, here in regular Survivor we have your families come out, but like you're nowhere near that stage, so here's some trinkets.
Yes, here is your gigantic teddy bear that you're going to get super disgusting and the rest of your family won't want to see it anymore. Mr. Jericho. But yeah, like I keep forgetting that, but then when I watch the recaps, Jonathan's like, well, there's still 23 people left in the season, and we're like, it's just crazy. But these ones, I know last week, and by last week I mean 4 days ago, we were talking about what do we do with the different idols, and I think like because we had some kind of tribe swaps, like are there going to be idols on different beaches, and we do have some pretty interesting idol content in these two episodes, even though nobody actually gets an idol. Oh, actually, that's not true. We have pretty interesting idol content that results in like a fake clue. We have the challenge idol. I think it's a lot of fun because we're talking about idols, but they are by no means the
forefront. Yeah, for sure. Which is like really refreshing and everything. And it's not so like, we need this to survive in this game and play this game. We need to have idols. It's just like, we're going to play this, but like, it'd be great to have an idol.
Yeah, like this would be nice, but it's certainly not like the forefront of my strategy.
Yeah.
But the forefront and like the lead into this is what's going to be up with Henry, because Henry thinks he's got everything going on. He's starting to realize that he can't just waltz into Samatau and just control everything. It's Ben who seems to have gotten in. Ben has a huge confessional, and and again, this is just his interpretation. He seems to have really gotten himself into this majority group there. I know
he's not threatening. Like he's found out that he's 20, and it's like
he is. It makes a little more sense, though, I think with that, because we have seen, I guess, a bit more of a follower kind of vibe from his gameplay. But for what it's worth, he's gotten right into this group, and Henry, as we'll talk about, does some things that really are not super helpful. But what I like about Henry is I'm getting JT vibes from him, but so far in a good way, where he's trying everything. But not as extreme, but he's trying everything, and it's either working or it's not. Let me walk through this as we continue to recap.
Okay.
I'm getting JT vibes strictly in terms of like balls to the walls kind of moves.
So are we which JT are we talking about?
Well, that's the beauty of it. I did not make that clear. And I'm going to keep it that way. I'm leaning towards his second and third performances, but I don't think they will end as bombastically as they did. But however Henry wins or loses, it's going to be interesting. As
the episodes progress, I'm starting to not like Henry as much, because he's just like, I'm going to rule the roost. Ha ha, nobody can do anything about it. And Luke's just like, bye, Jackie. Like, knock you down a peg, Henry.
Exactly. And we get that confessional where he's like, I got this. And we get to this reward challenge, and he is shook. He's not happy. And in those kind of situations, like, it's really hard to hide how you feel. And I think his discomfort also radiated through his new tribe, and they were probably like, okay, now this guy is extra screwed. He thought he was in control over there. He is clearly not.
Right. And yeah, he went from top dog, and then once he switched, screwed everything he had up, because now he's at the bottom of Samatau. He's at the bottom of Asunga. And everybody wants him out. It's not like all right, Henry can scrape by. Like, it's not like a Tessa where she can go kind of, we can get her next time kind of deal. Henry is like, we got to get him, and get him now.
Right. And again, what benefits Henry is that he's incredible in challenges and he still has that idol. So I do believe he's smart enough to use that in a way to not take out like Peter or someone who's kind of like the third person down. I think if he's going to use that, he's got to really angle it correctly so that he can shatter the group and
either AK or Ziggy, but I feel like Ziggy is like the heart of that tribe and is like, if he took out Ziggy, then a lot of things break up.
Yeah, and we'll talk. I want to talk about Ziggy, but we'll do that in the second half of this because she's got a pretty interesting end to that second episode.
Yes.
But let's talk about this reward challenge where you can win a lifetime supply of ice cream. What do you think about the challenge?
I thought this was an awesome challenge. Mm-hmm. It was the puzzle was really cool. I liked the cart. The wheels weren't like real wheels. They were like they had flat sides. I think it was an awesome all around like not grueling challenge, but just a great reward challenge.
Yeah, I think
didn't take forever.
That was one of the best puzzles I've seen because when they're pulling it that first go around, I'm like, why is that tree in the way? That's like, that must be so annoying. And then as they keep pulling it, it builds into an actual palm tree. And I thought that looked really cool. And it was still really hard to put in the pieces because you're just looking at sequences of tiny little circles.
Yep.
Again, AK is great at challenges, but doesn't end up working out for them because Saga ends up winning reward and Jericho eats as many ice creams as pieces there were to that puzzle.
Yeah, like he gastrointestinal distress later. Like
hashtag.
Yeah. Good luck, Jericho. If you were stopped up before, now you won't be.
Yeah, he what was I gonna say? Yeah, he's like compact. Like he looks very, very muscular, but again,
he's just a little guy.
Yeah, we're like 23 days into this, so I'm sure a lot of his fat has gone out the window. So I'm really, really shocked that he was able to take all that. And I think with Jericho, we're getting the like food monster edit because we see
him the cookie monster
cookies and now chugging ice cream.
But he wanted something like chicken. He wanted something substantial, and he's just like, here's ice cream. And it's like, well, I'm still going to house everything, but...
Exactly. And I guess the new like accidental Annelise burn is going to be the new people guessing things wrong when JLP asks them what they want. Because I wrote down that he wanted pizza and chicken. And then later on, when he's talking to them at Tribal Council about what the ultimate reward is, they actually, one person does guess it right, and I actually think it's Ben, but they're just like throwing crap at the wall and nothing's sticking. And that is my new favorite bit, unintentional bit of this season.
Well, Tessa got it right, though. She wanted ice cream, but she didn't get ice cream.
Yes, exactly. And again, Annelise, I feel like we're not burning her anymore because she is dang good.
I love Annelise.
Yes,
she like
even though she should not be
here. Right. She shouldn't be here. But I mainly don't think Tara should be here. I'm fine with Annelise being here. But
that sounds like a very personal I love them. I especially love Annelise.
Yeah, and
they're there.
Yeah, Annelise and Annelise, Hot Model Sarah, and Ziggy are my top 3 people that I like this season, and they're just. And then the fact that now Annelise and Sarah are working together, they have an idol between them. Like, well, I'm all for Annelise.
I've got some up and downs on Hot Model Sarah for you, but right now we are on an up, which I don't want to disappoint you.
All right, let's ignore that other challenge. Let's ignore the challenge where she just epically fails. All right.
My comment is not challenge oriented, but we'll get to it. Okay. But Annelise, so they're eating ice cream, and Annelise finds a clue, and everyone is in an ice cream coma. And I like this again at the challenge. There are 2 clues, so she not only gets 1 clue, but then has to go and get more. I think that's, or excuse me, not at the challenge, at the reward. Yeah. I think that's really fun because it is clearly very weird when Annelise is up there like picking palms off a palm tree while everybody else is in the middle of a food coma.
Yes. I just thought it was so weird that they were just like, here, let's go gather sticks. And it's like, we'll bring these back to camp.
Now. Yeah. It's like, I just need ice cream. Like, definitely the next thing that would make logical sense to do is to get some sticks from a tree.
And bring them back to camp because we don't have sticks or trees at our camp either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there aren't enough of those. But again, we get a pretty cool like silhouetted shot of her, and there's a little bit of suspense. So she's picking there, and we actually move back to the Samatau tribe. So love that we don't actually know until we do. But what's going down over at Samatau is that Henry realized he is effed. And I have one. Here's my one. Well, I have a couple things, but here's something that I want your opinion on. Henry thought he was in complete control. He really only had Jackie because he had
Kent too.
He had Jackie and Kent and like Odette too, but he made it seem like he had this large majority. Luke, Ben, and Jericho are never going to work with him. So
or Michelle, I don't think either.
So it was going to be like a half and half thing anyway. So
and Sarah was in the middle of both groups. Like she was playing the middle.
So I thought, and maybe it's easy for me to say this because I'm looking at the whole picture, and Henry wasn't able to, but he did seem to put a lot of eggs in a basket that seemed flimsy to begin with.
Yes, and then was just like, you know what? I'm gonna jump ship because I'm so comfortable. I'm gonna try and rule this tribe too. It's like you're not really ruling the other one, but okay.
Right, because the previous tribal council, all they were doing was talking about power couples, and Henry and Jackie were a huge part of that conversation. Mm-hmm. So I think to leave after something like that really screws over your alliance, which is what happened. I think Jackie was in one of the best positions in the game, and then she went home because her alliance member ditched her.
Yeah, and it screws over him too.
Yeah,
it's like, why would you voluntarily go into a minority in a tribe when you have a majority? Like, you should have sent Ben and Michelle over there, and then they could have left, you know?
Mm-hmm. And again, like, it's easier for him to do it because he has an idol, so he has an idol and he's good at challenges, so I think he definitely weighed that, and I think that really helps. But as we're seeing, he's kind of just digging himself a little bit more of a hole because he's now very aware that he's in trouble, and so comes up with his own little Survivor trivia game. McKenna, can you tell me anything about Survivor trivia games?
No, I have no clue on any of that. But yeah, it backfires hard on him. He is just like, let's try and be charismatic, and they don't. They like the game, but then are very aware. Let's not keep him around anymore because he can do things like this.
Yeah, it's just a very, very obvious attempt. And I think this is a tough group to crack because AK doesn't buy anything that anybody ever sells to him. And credit to AK for that because he's able to see past that. I mean, in the next episode, he's like, oh yeah, Lockie's doing his thing where he's just being nice to me. In this one, he's like, this makes me like Henry even more, so therefore I want to get rid of him immediately. And it was an unspoken thing. So I applaud the attempt, but I think anything where also he's like the yoga instructor, and clearly the yoga thing didn't work out for him the first go around. So he's got to try something different, which is just even more attention grabbing. So really swings and misses on that one.
Yeah, I feel like the only one that could pull the wool over AK's eyes is like Ziggy and maybe Jared.
Yeah, I think Jared could because AK trusts him so wholly. I don't think Jared would do that. I think Ziggy would.
Yes.
So this happens, and Henry is in even more trouble than he was 10 minutes ago. So stay tuned for how that goes. But now we go back to Asanga, and Annelise approaches who? Sarah.
Yes.
To help her find this idol. And we have a challenge idol, which I always like. How do you feel about challenge idols?
Challenge idols are my favorite idols. Either that or like a wild goose chase that Annelise had to like go from clue to clue to clue.
Yes, those are fun too. I like that she goes for somebody other than Tara because she's already seen as such a pair with Tara. I think going for the person who's kind of the swing vote is a really, really good person to ask. I think vs Luke takes over. I think, Kent and Odette, I feel like it's very clear that they're
on the bottom.
So I think she makes the totally the right move going to Sarah. And good on Sarah for having that vibe that makes Annelise want to work with her. But this is an interesting one because Annelise she's sort of the star of the show when it comes to challenges, especially with puzzles. And where this was placed, Annelise wouldn't have been able to get it. So she had to put so much trust in Sarah that Sarah would get it.
Yeah, and if they had the right people to be like bases for the like Sarah and Odette, Michelle, Jericho, anybody, if they had the right people to stand on the shoulders of, then I feel like Sarah would have been able to get it. But because they were barely able to have people like swing the rings over, Annelise had to like pull a Troyzan and be like, oh man.
Yeah. And I think it's probably for the better. Because there's a lot that goes on when this challenge ends, but I do think it's for the better that they kind of get their butts kicked, because they're, at that point, everyone would have been hanging around there. I think the good thing about them getting so blown out is the only person who was even remotely near her was Kent. And this way Annelise gets it for herself. I think as much as this always happened with Henry and Jackie too, like this is Annelise's clue, but that's Sarah's idol as soon as Sarah touches it. And Sarah, I think, can say it's ours as much as she wants, but that's in her possession. I know there are rules around that.
But I feel like Sarah might give it to Annelise, like, once they get back. I honestly don't know for sure, but, like, I feel like the way Sarah is talking to Annelise about this idol, where it's like, this is your idol, like, thank you for trusting me with it, but it is your idol. Like, I feel like the way she was talking about it would make Sarah give it to Annelise once they got back to camp. Then it would be Annelise's idol. Yeah,
it does feel like a pretty equal relationship. But I guess we won't have to find out because Annelise pulls it off. And it's like an extended Troyzan situation. She is like, oh God, this just sucks. Oh man, and just like nabs it, and Kent has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, in Troyzan's case, he won the challenge, but yeah. They were just like, oh man, let me just sit on this crate and be sad.
I need to be sad by myself for like a longer period of time than usual. But another thing happens after this.
Henry.
Yes, Henry is still playing. And I have to say, I like what he does here. I really like this move. You seem to not agree with that, so let's talk about it. But
no, I'm fine with the move. He slips Jericho his idol clue that he already has the idol for, which he knows Jericho was part of something with Jackie going home because Jericho and Luke are tied, and Luke Luke would be the one to get Jackie out. So slipping Jericho the note, it wouldn't be as suspicious because they shared the cookies, and it feels like it might be a friendly, hey, I found this idol but couldn't find it before I left. Here you go.
Yeah. And I like it. I think it's the right call because if he gives it to Luke, Luke doesn't buy it. So Jericho, and I know we're kind of going to jump ahead a little bit here, but Jericho even says in his confessional when he's idol hunting, he's like, Henry and I weren't even that close. So Jericho isn't seeing it the way that Luke would. And Jericho, assuming they both make it to the merger, another stop or whatever, might actually trust Henry now. And it's very plausible. I mean, this happens all the time where people hunt for idols and don't actually find them. This is Henry kind of stirring up trouble where if Jericho can't find it, Jericho's going to assume somebody else found it. And nothing bad happens to Henry. It only looks like a gesture of goodwill.
Yes. So Asanga loses. We have to go to tribal council, and Kent does nothing. He opens up his shop on the beach and is waiting for customers so he could tell them a story.
Yes, and
what?
Nobody.
Well, Tara's first.
After a bit.
after a long while.
I remember in Edge of Extinction, War Dog in his exit interviews said that he had, I think he called it like office hours or something.
Yeah.
If you want to talk strategy, like I don't care who you are, just come over. And I do like that idea. But the problem is I think Kent isn't seen that way. And Kent is very obviously on the bottom here.
Right. And he didn't make anything known of like, if you would like to talk, you know, come over. He was just like, I'm going to sit here and hope people come and talk to me. But why would they come and talk to you when it's literally just you and Odette as a couple? Like, they have their majority. Why do they need to talk to you about anything?
Right. And also it's very clear that he hates Michelle. So like, why would anybody who's working with Michelle come and talk to him?
Yeah.
But Tara bites, and Tara wants to kind of break up this crew. And then Luke immediately gets mad at Tara. So that's the problem here. Like Kent is trying to stir up trouble, but doesn't have enough votes to actually do it.
Yeah. My question is like, Annelise and Tara really distanced themselves from each other, at least from the edit perspective of this episode. They were like super like non-existent. Tara's like, I haven't actually talked to Annelise about this yet, you know. She just was like, oh yeah, Kent, you, me, Odette. I haven't talked to Annelise, but I could probably get her.
Right. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Annelise take more of an organic and like natural approach to assimilating into this tribe. And Tara is kind of just like taking whatever is given to her.
Yeah, I would like Tara to be voted out, but
really that wasn't clear to me. But Sarah, again, you know, and you know, they're showing this, obviously it doesn't end up working out, but right. Sarah again is like, I'm kind of done with Luke and Jericho. And this is kind of the first time we really hear someone say that. So I don't know if like maybe Luke and Jericho kind of have a bit of a court jester vibe where people don't really realize that every time someone's in authority, they take them down, or they just don't really get bothered by them. But I think it's pretty impressive that it takes this long for people to say Luke and Jericho are a duo that I want to break up.
Yeah, like they are a duo, and it was clear from the beginning that these boys are in lockstep with each other.
Right.
Why aren't we doing anything about this? I don't know. But
well, I think Michelle doesn't have anywhere else to turn, really. I think Sarah is being correctly opportunistic. Ben's gone. So I just don't think there's enough like clout there. And Annelise and Tara have been so desperate that now they're working with them.
Yeah, and maybe if Kent had approached saying, like, let's break up Luke and Jericho instead of shooting a shot at Michelle, maybe something would have stuck. I don't know, but...
Yeah, because Michelle's going to be that person who just gets votes every tribal council but doesn't go home until very late, I feel like.
Abby Maria.
Yep, because... Now I think Michelle has like become such a talking point that people are like, well, I want to keep her around because nobody wants to play with her.
Exactly.
And so Kent and Odette end up not being able to pull anything together. Kent goes home with, Odette only gets 1 vote. Michelle gets 2 votes. And then Kent goes home. And the only 2 votes that go towards Michelle are Kent and Odette.
Yeah, I kind of thought Kent was the one going home leading into this because Odette's edit hasn't been there, and usually if you're going home like and you have had like a purple edit that Odette has had, you get your really big episode before you leave, and we still haven't gotten a lot from Odette, so I figured she was off the table, and it was kind of like a offhanded comment from Luke saying like, all right, then we go for Odette instead of Kent.
That's it.
Yeah. And then Michelle is just your person that like gets votes.
Yeah, exactly. And Odette does get a little bit of content in our next episode. Episode 11. She gets the I'm all alone, I got to pull myself up kind of content. And she also starts this, I don't want to call it family visit, but like family activity. And we get some pretty personal content from her, which generally we haven't really gotten like a lot of like stuff from home. And, we get a little bit from Luke. We get kind of the softer side of people this episode.
Yes. But big boy Luke caught two sharks.
Step aside, Lockie.
Bigger than Lockie's, so
they like lead the scene with him like with a shark in each hand. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then we have the Jericho let's go hunt for this idol, and then they come across the loved one stuff.
Yeah. And again, I think this is kind of cool because in American Survivor they've sort of moved past like the loved one things. Which is fine, but letters to themselves I've never liked. And even letters from family, like
I'd be fine with. Yeah, I like that.
Sometimes they're pre-written before the person even goes out. And I get that, like, no matter what, it's going to be kind of general. But I guess I like the products because it automatically leads to a story about their family or their person. Upsettingly for you, McKenna,
I know
is from her boyfriend. I had to pause and like crack up when she said that.
I had to pause and cry. Not only was I crying because of the loved one stuff and all the stories, and now she throws on, "Oh, this is my boyfriend," and I'm like, God, just stab me in the heart. But this was also a couple years ago, so there's hope still.
There's hope that they are not together. Yes. We could only be so lucky.
Yeah, I haven't followed on Instagram or anything like that because I don't want spoilers or anything. So I, just in case like her bio reads season Australian Survivor winner, you know.
Oh,
I want to avoid that.
That would be, I know that would make you really happy, but she's playing a good game. She's playing a good game right now. But again, I like this. I know this every other episode doesn't have a reward challenge. This was a good replacement for that instead of just a lot more strategic content. Because then the quote unquote immunity challenge is, and what comes with that is really interesting. What do you think?
I hate that we have yet another episode that no one goes home.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this until 2022.
I hope you're ready.
2021. I mean, I looked at a calendar. We're doing this for quite a bit.
Yes. Yes, we are. But like, I don't know. The whole, I liked the dynamic of voting for someone to get something. Whether they knew it was something good, so they had to try and trust whoever they were voting for. They couldn't vote for themselves, so they had to vote for someone else. Mm-hmm. I thought that was an interesting aspect of it.
And you don't know what you're voting for.
You just know it's the ultimate reward.
Right. Do you think this was the ultimate reward? It's pretty huge.
It is pretty huge. I think ultimate reward would be guaranteed immunity. Mm-hmm. So like the American Super Idol, or like you get a free pass your next tribal council kind of deal. Like I think that would be the ultimate reward, is just guaranteed full out, you're immune.
Like pretty much having another immunity necklace, but you just don't have to win the challenge.
Right. So if this idol was the real Super Idol or the American Super Idol, then I feel like that would also be the ultimate reward. But the fact that she also has to know when to play it because it's a nullifier as well as an immunity idol, like she has to play it before the votes are read. So if she goes out with it, she doesn't know, she can't wait till after the votes to be like, never mind.
And I couldn't really tell. So pretty much it's a 2-part idol where, like McKenna said, it can invalidate an idol and also can act as a regular idol. I was curious if that had to happen at the same time.
It seemed like it did because it didn't come in 2 parts.
Maybe
it was like one necklace.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the necklace could break apart, but I think it would have been cooler and more powerful if you can use them on 2 separate occasions.
Right, because then they're like, oh, Ziggy got a nullifier, cool. And then later on, they're like, all right, let's get Ziggy out. She's like, nah, I have a regular idol. Sorry, boys.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, losers. But let's get to that real quick. Let's go to this immunity/reward challenge. So Samatau is struggling big time to the point where they give up literally everything they have for Flint.
Right. Yes.
And again, this was in 2017, so this is pre David versus Goliath, but I think it's interesting that
post San Juan del Sur.
Yes. So they lead. I know, and again, I know like JLP is not Jeff, but there is a precedent for this stuff. And so I just think it's interesting that they lead with everything and ask for something additional to Flint. I think the negotiation tactic is a little wrong here. I think asking for pizza was a bad idea when you were already giving everything. You had to go.
I think their joke was pizza, though. I think they were just like, well, if you could give us pizza every day, that'd be great. But really, like, we'll take a Flint.
I think if they wanted one pizza, I bet they could have made it work, but I doubt it.
No, like I would not want one. I don't want the pizza.
Exactly.
But two, like the Flint is just more valuable than one pizza.
Right. But do you think they should have, like, I mean, I guess it's obvious because you carry all your stuff. So it's not like, oh, we brought this blanket, but you can't have it unless we like negotiate farther.
The fact that they brought the tarp, I was like, ooh, you brought your tarp.
Yeah. I think they could have, because I know production like can do all this behind the scenes. I think it would have been smarter if they don't bring everything and just come with their normal stuff and say, we'll give you X for Flint instead of leading with we'll give you everything and make him ask for everything.
See, I feel like that just makes the host, either Jeff or JLP, not want to do it. Like, Jeff is just like, oh, you're offering me your fishing gear? Yeah, okay. Like, you should have came in, like, with the whole business in San Juan del Sur. They wanted to wait to see if they won the reward to trade it in for Flint. It's like, no. That's not how this works here. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you almost have to offer the sun, the moon, and the stars first.
Yeah, because he's going to give it to them at the end of the day.
Yeah, but he'll just either...
He'll either make us stink about it or not.
Yeah. I feel like this one, since they offered everything, we're good. I'll give you that, Flint. It'll be waiting for you at camp.
Yeah. I wish we got a little bit of judginess because Jeff always like kind of chastises them. I can always use a little meanness from Jeff. Also,
we are how many days in and they only have one Flint? How long does a Flint last? Because it feels like they get, at least with American Survivor, they get their original Flint from each camp, and then do they have a merge Flint?
I don't know, but my thought process was, again, we're like already 2/3 of the way done with an American Survivor season, so this maybe does line up pretty well.
Yeah, like Flint runs out. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to like read an interview about what happened there, but I will wait. So
for potential maybe people on here.
yeah, maybe 8 people. So this is a reward challenge where you still go to tribal council, which kind of sucks for Samtao because they end up like hucking it all the way over there to not really do much. But it's the winning tribe goes to tribal council for the chance to win the ultimate reward, and that's all you hear. What do you think about this challenge? This was a very American Survivor challenge.
Yes, I thought it was great because there was a lot of back and forth. Michelle messes up. Michelle messes up. Annelise and Sarah bring them back, and then Jericho and Tara, if like Michelle hadn't messed up in the beginning, could have maybe won that out. But then Ben and Henry were just chucking sandbags. Yeah. They were whipping them. And I'm surprised AK, Mr. Puzzle Guy, did horribly on that puzzle. That's like an easy puzzle.
Yeah, I think so.
You have a buff around your neck with the picture of the logo if you need it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they did so poorly on that. And also I was surprised that Jericho and Tara were the ones throwing sandbags, but this is a challenge where your strong people need to be the ones jumping because sure, Michelle sucks, but Michelle's also not that tall. So I can't blame her a lot.
I can't either.
So this is a tough one where your people who are good at throwing things are probably being used for a different part of the challenge.
Do you think they would adjust like the string height or whatever for the person? Because with the block challenges where they have to put the block on their head, the perches are different heights per person.
I don't think they did, because I'm thinking about in the Winners at War challenge where Adam
Right.
Denise, like, nobody could get that. I don't think they adjusted that, because I think it was like poor planning that you put Adam and Denise as the people to try to get it. And I think it's just one wooden beam. I don't remember them like looking different sizes.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I think you have to pick your tall people or your people who you know are really
good jumpers. Yeah. Because I would say put Luke on the sandbags.
Right.
But then do you get Tara on a swim? Do you put Jericho on a swim? Like, they're both shorter people, so can they leap to get that key in the first place?
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, if Michelle doesn't miss, then they probably end up winning that. Because it does end up being really close despite it going back and forth. But Samatau ends up pulling it out. They're super excited to go to tribal council, and they have no idea what's going on.
Exactly.
And there's kind of minimal strategizing at camp because they don't even know how they're voting, and they don't know what they're voting for. Like, can you vote for yourself? Does everybody collectively vote?
Yeah.
It's not really clear, so they really can't strategize that much.
I like that they were able to ask questions, and he was just like,
it was fun.
No, it doesn't pertain to the other tribe. Yes, they'll be coming back, but not tonight. You know, I like that it was like a 20 questions kind of deal.
Yeah, and at the beginning he wasn't being really helpful, and then they kind of learned what questions to ask him. You know, the not coming back tonight. And again, it's Ben who's like, I think this is probably a super idol. For me, I was totally misled. I thought this was going to be a family visit, because when I think ultimate reward, I'm thinking of a reward. I'm not thinking the ultimate advantage. I think then it would have been a little, but I think maybe if he sold it that way, then they probably vote in a different person. So, and he's like, you know, you're electing a champion. And I think this says a lot about Ziggy. They're electing someone who's, you know, good at stuff, someone who everybody can kind of get behind. Do you think this puts a target on Ziggy, or do you think it doesn't?
I don't think really it does, because she is just, everyone looks at her the same essentially, where they're like, she's good, but we really still want to work with her.
Exactly. I think this does wonders for her, and I think the thing with Ziggy is people are always going to look at AK before they're going to look at her as someone that they need to get rid of, or they're always going to look at Lockie before they look at her, or Henry. So
yeah, which is very much not the case. You should very much get rid of Ziggy first. Not that I want her to go, but just she's the real like brains of the operation.
Yeah, you said she was the heart of the tribe, and I feel like that was a really apt way to put it, because she's not the person who's like wheeling and dealing the whole time, but she's the one who everybody likes and the one who everybody wants
goes to. Yeah,
exactly.
That's who Lockie, Annelise, and Tara wanted to pull over to their side because they thought they could work with her best. That's who AK fully went to, was like, hey, work with us. So she's definitely in a great place, and even better place now that she has an advantage, because people trust her with the advantage and don't want to get her out for having it.
Right. So what do you think? I did not watch the preview. What do you think she ends up doing, and what do you think the right thing to do is here?
It doesn't matter, because there's a tribe swap.
Oh, okay. Well, then it doesn't matter. That's great.
Yeah.
Can you show it? Can you tell I didn't watch the preview?
Yeah. So tribe swap next episode at like 30 days in, but
yeah, I was like, man, there aren't any tribe swaps, but it's been kind of working because you did the quasi tribe swap and it's been fairly even so far. But then that's huge for Ziggy. To continue on with my family visit thing, I would have just said, you know, my mom came and my mom and I had a great night together from midnight until 6 a.m. or whatever the time was. But, you know, I think maybe she can be honest about one of the things. I think there's there's plenty she can do here, but I guess it doesn't matter too much.
In the preview, she tries to fib, and then AK is just like, she's not telling us the whole truth.
Right.
But okay.
Yeah. But this one's pretty cool. So she's just like wading through some mangroves in the middle of the night until 5 o'clock in the morning, hunting for this thing. She must have been at it for quite a while.
What if her torch goes out?
I'm sure. Yeah, I wondered that too. But I was like, maybe they just have like a little fire starter for whatever. Because she's also walking around the water. I'm sure it like accidentally gets wet a lot too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then what if she like lights a tree on fire? Like she went fully into the woods, like the flame passing over leaves. I'm like, is she gonna start a forest fire? Like,
yeah, she's just gonna burn down Samoa.
Yeah.
So
but then it was earlier, high up in a tree and grabbed the idol. She had to break the idol open.
Yeah, and then after she accidentally throws it into the water. But what was I going to say here? Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I like a hunting sequence. I know it's not as good as other ones because it was in the dark and it was just like her looking by herself. But yeah, I think Ziggy's only going to be in a good position moving forward. And I think even if she gets, if AK doesn't trust her and she gets swapped onto a tribe with AK, I think people are automatically going to be more sketched out by him than they are by her.
I think she's only in trouble if she gets on a tribe and she's in the minority with maybe like Luke, Jericho, Michelle.
Right. But again, I think like Luke and Jericho would maybe want to work with her because she does have the like unassuming vibe. Like no one's going to say, oh my God, Ziggy's going to like plot for something. I think, again, I think that's really good for her.
Yeah.
What else do you have on this episode? That was kind of everything I had, or these episodes.
They were kind of like very straightforward episodes. I mean, there was the twist at the end, but they were kind of very just, this is the reward, this is the challenge. There's nothing like crazy going on. Kent went home. There was no flip or anything like that. So they were kind of pretty standard Survivor episodes, I feel, except for this
like regular
crazy advantage.
Yeah. which I'm gonna say that even though it was like extensive, maybe they could have shortened it a bit. I did like it. It reminded me of, in Pearl Islands, they vote back in the person. I did like that because now you're voting for somebody to get an advantage, but you don't know what the advantage is. I kind of like that concept.
Yeah. I do too. Yeah, it's a good time. They were good episodes. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next couple now with the tribe swap.
You're almost at the halfway point of episodes. What are there, 26 or 24 episodes?
I can check for you.
But we're almost halfway there, which is insane considering we don't.
27 is the reunion.
Okay, we are not halfway there, but we're trying. So yeah, that's what we have for episodes 10 and 11. We are sort of slowing down in terms of content now that our Survivor China rewatches are over. And Amazing Race is about to finish. It's actually the Amazing Race recap finale this coming Wednesday. Not sure if it's 1 hour or 2 hours, but Phil and I will recap it once the episode is over. And then Phil is continuing on with watching the challenge. And for a while, I was like, I'm not going to watch a challenge. The show's not for me.
Do it.
Probably like, oddly enough, as someone who podcasts a ton, I really don't listen to podcasts. But one of my favorite like sports podcasts out there, they are recapping the challenge. And they were like, oh yeah, there are these two people from Survivor on there. Like, what's that show all about? And now I think I might watch the challenge because every podcast that I subscribe to / participate in is now talking about the challenge, and I have FOMO, so I might need to watch it.
Do it. It's a good time. I love the challenge.
Give it a shot. So Phil is going to be recapping that. I'm not sure with who and I'm not sure when, but
it's John, and it's either right after Amazing Race or the next day.
Fantastic. We'll let you know once we find out. Once the Amazing Race is over, that's going to help clear up the schedule for the challenge since that also airs Wednesdays.
And then
Go ahead. Oh, finish it up.
And then tomorrow you will see the results of our trivia game. It'll be posted at some point when Alexa hits publish. And
spoiler alert: Phil and I don't win.
They might be a collective -30.
We win something.
You won the trivia game on your channel.
We sure did. And we love having it on our channel.
Yeah, Phil won Michelle.
There, and that's honestly
he won getting to see Michelle. So
so McKenna, where can people find us on the internet?
Oh, all forms of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Become a patron, $20 patron. You get to do fun things like this, like podcast with Alexa, or Phil if you're John.
Or Phil, only if you're John. So become a patron. We're still coming up with our December retrospective for our $20 our $10 and $20 patrons. So anybody who has ideas, it either can or cannot be holiday themed. We're down with whatever. Shoot us a DM and we'll come up with it. And as McKenna said, we are going to be posting our my and Phil's collective embarrassing performances from last night's trivia game. But Michelle's a part of it. Nick and McKenna are fantastic hosts. And it was a lot of fun. And I keep thinking I need to study more, but I literally don't know how to study. So I just live now every day. I just read Survivor Wiki, and I hope that I can get third place for the next trivia game.
Fun fact, this is not on our trivia questions, but Jake from Thailand won an Emmy for his performance in Thailand.
That should absolutely be an upcoming one. No, I won't even remember that because it's just so weird.
Yeah, so he has an Emmy because he was in Thailand.
That is, I gotta do a little more research into that. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay safe.